Startup Central with me, Nayantara, working from home in New Delhi. Well, we have been celebrating the big bull, living legend, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's 60th birthday. And my next guest is a startup and an entrepreneur who actually managed to convince Rakesh Jhunjhunwala to not invest in the stock markets, but instead look at his startup and become an investor. So with that, I'd like to invite the founder of Nazara, Nitish, who's joining us here. Hi, Nitish. Welcome to Startup Central. Back in 2017, you got Rakesh Jhunjhunwala to believe in you, to bet on you, and to sign you a check. How did you do that?
I think it was a dream come true for us. As a company, we've been building on the gaming front for many years. And one of our, objectives has been to list on the Indian markets, perhaps be the first Indian gaming company to list in the Indian markets and not anywhere outside. And what better could happen to us than getting, Rakesh ji on board? So I think it was absolutely a dream come true for us. But I think what really caught his interest, one of our first investors in Nazara, someone who's from the finance industry, Rajiv Chitrabhanu, introduced us to Rakesh ji. And I believe what Rakesh ji really liked in our company was, we had built the business over many years with a very small amount of capital into a very profitable company. And while he has stayed away from cash guzzling tech companies, I think he found a differentiator in us being able to be very cash efficient and build a profitable business over a kind of sustaining over a period of time. And I think that worked in our favor. I think some credit maybe to his kids also, who are big gaming enthusiasts, and probably he spotted a growing trend much closer to home.
Okay, so his kids were able to also maybe convince him. But do you remember, Nitish, when you pitched to him? Do you remember that? How long did it take you to pitch him? How much into the pitch did you figure out that okay, he's interested?
What I remember from my pitch to him was, of course, after having the fanboy moment of being in his conference room with all those, bull statues all over the table, it was fascinating for me. But after that, what I found was he had already studied, our balance sheets very well. He has a strong team with him, with the CEO Utpal Bhai and Rajiv Agarwal. So the three of them, already had the grasp of each and every number of my company. And I think he just heard the whole story, from us, and was quite, happy with what we had done. Obviously, he didn't give us an immediate indication in terms of whether he's, investing or not, but that was, followed up by his team. But I believe that was my biggest takeaway, that he had already studied each and every number of the company. And, there was little I had to do in terms of explaining those numbers.
Okay, and so he'd done his homework. He came fully prepared. Well, that's Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and the big bull for you. Tell me something. What do you think has been the best advice that Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has given you ever?
I think in the last 2.5 years that, I've had the opportunity to, interact and work with him. What I find is his, clarity of thinking for us, even in an industry that's perhaps to a certain extent new for him, being in the gaming space, he's able to absorb and distill his thoughts very clearly for us. And I think that at many times has been extremely useful in letting us, think through as a management in terms of the direction we want to go to. I think someone like Rakesh ji, who's coming with so much experience, comes with a very fresh perspective into a new industry, and I think we value that a lot. So I think that has been the most useful advice we've usually received. The other thing I think he's pushed us a lot is on focus, creating a lot more focus in the business, creating a direct to consumer brand where all our products, we today have a large number of companies and a large number of products that we are offering to the consumers, and he's been pushing us very strongly on building a one consumer destination brand, which now we have recently done under Nazara.com destination, where all our products and offerings are available at one spot to the consumer. So I think that's something he's been pushing us since the last couple of years, and we finally managed to execute it in the last few months. Hopefully, I think that's going to be move in the right direction as well.
Okay. Now, yours is one of those startups that, stood to gain and probably did gain a lot during COVID and the lockdown. How have you steered through it? And, did you speak to Rakesh Jhunjhunwala during it? What was his advice to you on how to manage this? Now, the lockdown for you would have also meant big bucks.
Yeah. I think Rakesh called us, a couple of weeks after the lockdown happened, just to get an update on what we are doing. And his key message was just to keep your head down and keep doing what we are doing and executing on ground. Uh, nothing fancy beyond that, but very very straightforward, simple advice that we took to heart and have done. Obviously, we are in one industry that's been fortunate to have a positive impact, although for an unfortunate situation. But we're making the most of what we can, and most of our companies have and products have seen a significant upsurge within the last 3-4 months. But this year our first quarter itself is run rating at maybe 70-80% growth over last year's annual numbers. So we're seeing very strong growth, and I think our focus is two things. One is to ensure that the consumer experience does not get impacted as the traffic surges, and how we are able to deliver quality experience to the consumers. Also, provide value add to them. So for example, for a lot of our products, we have introduced free trials, experiences during this period. So it's not all about monetization, but also about how we can engage the consumer during this difficult period. And the last thing is, how can we sustain this spike beyond this COVID? And what we are seeing over there is that besides increased engagement of our existing consumers, we are seeing a large number of new consumers, experience gaming for the first time on our platforms. We perhaps have touched maybe 10 to 15 million new consumers in the last 3 months who had never, experienced games on a platform prior to that. So I think that's very exciting. You're seeing a lot of people sitting on the fence, starting to experience gaming, and that's going to, I think, lead to a habit formation over a period of time.
So tell me something. You've seen the kind of growth you've seen, but tell me in absolute numbers. How many more people came onto Nazara? What has done better? You must have got some fantastic insights. You've had India in lockdown as the world's largest lockdown. What did India play? What were the preferences?
Sure. So let's start very early. We have one product called Kidopia, uh, which is made by Paperboat Apps, a company we had taken a majority stake last year in. And there is a healthy entertainment, edutainment product for young kids, from the age of 2 to 7, and they have seen, I think, in the last 9 months, a 500% growth in consumers accessing it, as well as monetization. Very few people know, but if you want some specific numbers, a company like Kidopia or a product like Kidopia today is run rating at an annualized 200 crores per year, with a 5x growth in the last few months. So that is the kind of traction we are seeing. Another product of ours, World Cricket Championship, which is the most popular cricket game in the world, has seen both engagement. The engagement time has increased by 30 to 40%. What used to be 45 to 50 minutes a day has, gone beyond hour a day. And you've seen the consumer base swell to maybe about 40 million users accessing it every month. So there are a lot of data points I can keep sharing with you, but I think overall it's a very positive impact for us.
Okay. Before I let you go, do you want to tell us what's next in line for you? Like online gaming is clearly the buzzword. You've heard it from Mukesh Ambani and Rel Jio as well. What is your next target?
I think we are very keen to put our IPO plans on track, and the team is working on that. We have Rakeshji's backing amongst the other investors. We have, other important investors like Westbridge Capital and India Infoline. So we are consulting our, investors as well as our board on the right timing for this. But uh, for a gaming company, whether it's us or not, I think it's really time for a gaming company in India to list in the public markets because I think the markets are ready for it and I think the country is ready for it. So I'm hoping that we will be the first in line, but nevertheless, we've got a work cut out for us.
Okay, I said it would be my last, but I want to make that the penultimate and this the ultimate. Over the weekend, Prime Minister Narendra Modi came out with the Atmanirbhar app challenge for existing
Yes.
as well as new apps. Now, in his
Yes.
LinkedIn post, he specifically talked about gaming. He
Yes.
mentioned gaming and can we not have apps that will take Indian games overseas, build on that? Does that
Yeah.
excite you at all? Is that something you could ever look at?
Absolutely. So, Nayantara, our Kidopia app, the one which I said for young kids, today is the number two app in the US Apple Store, just behind YouTube, and that shows that Indian apps made in India, 100% made in India, can not only receive a lot of popularity and demand within India, but actually go out and conquer the world. So I think we are super excited about that opportunity, and we're already seeing that happen for one product of ours. We're pushing very hard to see how we can expand that portfolio to dominate global markets out of India.
Okay, with that, I'm going to let you go. Many thanks for joining us here on this edition of the Startup Central, for being so candid. And if you do take part in that app challenge, all the very best to you.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short commercial break. But on the other side, we've got another large startup for you. We're going to log in and talk to Moby Quick. That's coming up.